Alright, let's check the relationships. I guess nothing new aside from a meowing Cora. And the journal. Let's see, what is new? During supper, Hannah found Luke drinking absinthe, and this caused an argument. While Hannah was angered by her husband's drinking problem, Luke was suspicious of his wife's activities, having not seen her the whole afternoon despite finishing Luxury Living's interview early. Then there was this crying woman. Hannah and Marianne were seen discussing the mansion's finishing touches before the housewarming party. On a whim, she had to jump on the desk and almost tackled the microphone. On a whim, Hannah asked for Marianne's opinion about a certain couple having marital problems. It leaves the former with something to think about after the latter excused herself from attending the party. But despite the fact that I told Marianne how I will attend to all of this, I find myself unable to focus or care for any of it. I still have our discussion running in my head, and looking at all of this, I only see Luke everywhere. These are all the grand things that Luke wanted to have for the party. I had wanted a small, elegant, and simple gathering with only a select few invited, namely the people who I would actually trust to enter my home. I did not want any bloody politicians or paparazzi in here, no matter how used I am to catering them. I am catering them.
At least be here for your party. Damn it, Luke.
Well, he'll be drinking. Do we really want that? The entire thing screamed Luke Wright. And I can't help but add another question to my growing list of queries. When did I lose myself? It's always about him nowadays, isn't it? What about Hannah Wright? What about Hannah E. Evans? I used to be my own woman, who made her own name, her own career, and for her own decisions. Sure, I was already the social butterfly that I still am today, but it wasn't all empty, shallow gossip and sitting pretty. I was also lauded for my knowledge and talent. Finance manager wasn't just handed to me just because my father owned the company. I had insisted that I start at the bottom so I could work my way to the top and prove myself. And I did. I worked numbers, managed budgets, money and accounts, analyzing the competition and market trends. There was the calculation of financial risk, cost reduction opportunities, like firing long-term employees and hiring new ones so that their wages are less, auditor liaison and public relations, supervision of staff, and, well, I generally had a huge slew of responsibilities. Admittedly, I was already quite the attention seeker even back then, having dedicated most of my youth craving for my parents' approval and totally not using camming because it wasn't available back then. Failing that, I turned to others, looked for praise from anyone who would give it, however fleeting it all was. And Luke, oh Luke, the way he looked at me, the way he watched me and took a genuine interest. Oh my god, Cora, no. He had me disgustingly obsessed since day one, hasn't he? He saw me for me, Hannah Evans, with both my faults and my achievements. The man didn't treat me like some damsel in distress or some prize to be won. I remember the nights before we were married where we talked about everything and anything. From big things like business, society, and philosophy to little things such as what we had for breakfast or whether we liked cats or dogs more. We both prefer dogs, but we've come to realize that cats are a little bit better because they don't need as much attention. but a little more independent. Not necessarily better, just more independent for the kind of lifestyle that we lead. Nowadays, I'm just Luke Wright's wife. ... Mostly my fault, isn't it? They told me that husbands preferred wives who are docile and subordinate. A woman who'll always be there for him, yet would never outshine him in all aspects except beauty. A wife needs to be at the home and attend to his needs, to have children and to take care of them in his absence. They said I have no business working anymore after I was married. I can blame society, but I listened. Before I can fall further into this introspective pit of self-loathing, someone calls for my attention.
The guests have arrived, madam.
And Luke?
Running a bit late, I'm afraid.
Why aren't you with him, Hansi?
Late for his own party. That man, I swear. He's probably looking to make a dramatic entrance, knowing him. Open the doors, then. We mustn't hurry.
Cars line up the driveway, peppering the front of the mansion with vehicles of every kind, except for crappy-looking ones. Grand Tourers, supercars, even the odd high-end muscle car or two, convertibles. Oh my god, Cora. I think it's like a ride for her. You know, she jumps up and then she gets tossed onto the bed and then jumps off the bed, jumps back onto the desk, and gets tossed onto the bed. It's grand fun for her. Grand saloons and other luxury cars can be seen being parked by valets. A handful of cabs drive off, possibly for those who thought it's too troublesome to bring their own cars. And, you know, if they had a helipad, then they could have brought their helicopters, right? There are at least 2 different media vans as well. They're all here for what may be considered the biggest event of the year for Luxborn. So far. Who knows what we'll plan for the winter holidays? Maybe a murder or 2 or several.
Welcome, welcome everyone. Please make yourselves at home.
Some of the guests idle, enjoying the warm, if not strange, sunshine we are experiencing before gloomy skies inevitably return. Some greet acquaintances and friends with warm smiles, others less so. From where I stand, I can see the hierarchy of power, the ties that bind these individuals here, whether they through convenience or necessity. However, there are also few who are not here to further cement their current place in high society. Such as that young man in that weird coat with that god-awful chain, with his oriental air about him, ignorant of the looks he receives from women and men alike for his ugh.
Be careful with Shirley, alright?
Oh my god, he named his car. Hey, that's Rebecca, not Shirley. Ha ha ha. Or that rose-haired woman talking on her phone while she looks unsure of why she is here exactly.
Yes, I'm at the party already, Mom.
So her nickname is gonna be Rose.
Yes, I'll say hi to her if I can.
I see Zachary, the photographer, as well. He talks to a few of the other media crew with an air of familiarity, probably sharing whatever intimate details for a little bit of pennies or what is it? Quid? Pences? I don't know. I don't know what that currency is called.
I was just here a few days ago, yeah. And the inside is huge, but the staff are pretty helpful if you get lost.
And then there are people like the Chief Inspector. People who I can never be too sure about. People who stand on the border between being suspicious and being trustworthy.
Thank you for the invite, Anna. Husband still missing, I see.
I should be saying the same of your darling Rochelle, Lee. The doctors again?
She told me she'll just be in the gardens. Bet she's lying and that she's somewhere around mingling, gossiping with the other ladies. It's no offense, but that seems to be all you ladies do at these parties.
And aren't you gossiping right now?
Yes, well, what about Luke? Should we file a missing persons report now, or do you want to wait 24 hours?
Don't wait 24 hours. By that point, they're probably dead.
He's around.
You know, I can tell if someone's bluffing. Don't tell me, let me guess. He's finally drunken himself to death and not wanting a scandal, you've hidden his body.
In the dumbwaiter? Or is it called the waiter's cupboard? I don't know.
I was wanting to give this housewarming gift to him personally, too. It's a plate that holds a wine glass so he can stop killing himself with liquid lunches. Looks like it's too late for that.
A plate that holds a wine glass. Interesting.
Nothing like that. Besides, this is a hardly polite conversation.
Oh, relax. I'm just trying to be cheeky to lighten the mood. It's not like I want Luke dead.
Oh, that's very, very suspicious. Who said anything about anyone wanting Luke dead? And look at that dumb grin on his face.
The man doesn't serve dodgy plonk like the others when I visit, and he pays his respects well enough.
Dodgy plonk.
Could use a glass of wine or 3, actually. Michelle's been in a horrid mood. Threw her stilettos at me the other day and almost took an eye out. Not sure if this is how it usually goes, but I blame the pregnancy.
I wouldn't know, would I?
Not being pregnant and pregnant.
Still no plans for a baby? Well, I guess that's for the best. If it's this bad now, I can't even imagine how bad it'll be when that little baby bump becomes huge.
He'll be getting himself a mistress. Have I mentioned how I don't trust him, no matter how hard I try to do so? At least he brought a gift, I suppose.
Why don't you just go inside and have some wine, Lee?
Think I will, thanks.
Greetings such as these carry on as the guests continue to trickle in. Whether we have short conversations or merely handshakes and nods of heads, I make sure to attend and welcome each of them. As the first hour passes us by, the rest of the stragglers and I adjourn to the ballroom. Any latecomers will have the attention of the porter instead. I have other duties to attend to now. Hosting parties is always the same old song and dance, no matter how big or small it is. You make sure your guests are well fed, have good company, and have them generally enjoy themselves. So when my opening remarks are done, when the band has started to play and the guests have started eating, I find myself wandering around aimlessly unless I am pulled aside. For a while, I stay with a small group and entertain them before excusing myself. And when they're not anymore watching me, I end up watching them. When they don't listen, I do. A local banker is having trouble with his daughter. He wishes to marry off, but she wants nothing more but to make music. One of our hotel managers worry about the stolen belongings of one of his patrons, a failing in security which should be brought up to higher authority soon. Our mayor, well, his cat died. Then there is that rose-haired little trollop once again. It is hard not to notice her with her distinctive locks. Clearly died. She also lacks the grace that the other ladies have, though that does not make her any less beautiful in a certain busty kind of way. Her stance and the air she exudes instead are strong, and they make her stand out despite her casual attire. Many men have already given her their attention, though each invitation to dance has been turned down. Stuffy nose. Awesome. I approach, intrigued, although it is no great mystery what occupies her own attention. With the glances she keeps sending towards the boy with the oriental look about him. She remains unaware, though, even as I stand beside her, pretending that I am there for a drink.
You would catch his eye a lot better if you wore nicer clothes, don't you think?
Or less clothes.
Didn't realize the housewarming was going to be this fancy. I would have gone with a nice dress if I knew.
You know what? There's no such thing as being overdressed. You show up overdressed, it means everyone else is underdressed.
Oh, you're fine, dearie. It's only really the parvenus, those who climb, that come to these parties all dolled up.
As apparently chaos is a ladder.
Quite the black-haired beauty, isn't he?
The boy comes over, but I do nothing to speak any softer. He merely passes by, and it is a wonder he doesn't hear what I say.
Who, Ash?
You know, you really shouldn't have turned down those offers.
There's plenty of side rooms for private dancing, right?
If I wasn't married, I'd happily go dancing with those young men.
Whoa. Hey, you know what? Do you, Hannah?
But you said a name. Ash. That's the exquisite lad you've been looking at all this time. I don't know him, and I'm the one hosting this party. That must mean you know each other.
I would certainly hope so. They came here together, right?
Is he your boyfriend then? Because that would explain those rejections.
She's gotta be into it. Oh, yes. Never mind. Never mind. Already know. In all my life, I have never seen a face grow red so fast. The shade of her hair did not help as well. Yeah, right. It's gonna make your complexion a lot redder. That's why I stay away from pinks and reds and purples. This is the most pink I've seen on a person. Maybe not purple. A nice purple scarf during winter. Ah, love winter.
What? No, that's ridiculous. He isn't my boyfriend.
Not yet, especially with that brown-haired Isabella trollop.
Such a violent reaction. A simple no would have sufficed.
She doth protest too much.
Many here would be happy to hear it.
And I haven't been looking at him.
That's right. You've been staring. Quite heatedly, in fact.
Everyone knows, Rebecca, that you've been eye-banging him.
Although I'm not sure if you look like you want to kiss him or kill him.
Well, that's, interesting eye-banging.
It's more the latter currently.
Just don't go murdering him on my property.
Enough dead bodies.
I don't want to walk into a room and suddenly find a body there.
Like in the sofa. I waver as I feel the burning of someone's stare. It's chilling, and though I'm used to enduring the gaze of others, this one makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. Oh, just right there, just interjecting like, don't mind me, I'm just couldn't help but overhear a conversation. My attention is pulled from the girl, and I see a woman staring. Dark-haired and dirty, she looks more like a beggar than a guest, and I have half the mind to call the security at her when her mouth breaks out into a grin. I mean, look at that. She's got a twitch. She's got the meth head or crack head eyes. Yeah. If I encountered her on the street, I would think, oh my god, another crackhead. No, meth head. My area, it's meth, not crack. Oh my god, Cora. You're lucky you're cute and fuzzy, Cora. All I hear is her laughing, taunting. Her stare makes my blood run cold. She looks at me like I am nothing but a pig to slaughter for her amusement. It makes my hand shake, and I nearly drop my drink. But then, in a blink, she's gone, and the buzz of the party returns.
I'll keep that in mind, but are you all right?
Did you not sense that, rosy-haired girl? Are you daft?
Yes, sorry. I just thought I saw something strange. It must be the trick of the light. Anyway, on a right, as you must already know.
Rebecca Gales.
Gales.
The name is familiar, like a fond memory. I recall a kind lady, a private tutor who treated me like her own daughter when I was young. She'd even bring me food when there was no need to do so. Usually stovies, whatever the hell that is, which I honestly hadn't been too keen about, though I ate them nonetheless because she brought them for me.
Oh, the professor! And your little Becky!
My parents couldn't make it since they're in Scotland right now. And Mom says hi, by the way. But yeah, that's me. Little Becky. We met once before.
Oh, little Becca.
Yes, oh, I remember you! You were the cutest little thing with glasses!
What is she gonna do with that finger and that fist?
And when we met, you were having boy troubles with this lad called something with an A.
Oh, she's got an aggressive thing going on with her fingers. She's almost doing the claw.
What was it again? Aaron, Alan, Adele, Albert, Alexander, Andrew?
Ash? The more I list off names, the more red and the more quiet Becky gets. She starts to look a bit miserable as her body language shows discomfort and stiffness. Perhaps I have triggered a horrid childhood memory. Surely I hadn't been mean when she visited with her mother. I don't quite remember all of it.
Ashton! Ash! That man is that boy! The same one. Oh, goodness me, after all these years!
Oh my god, Becky, you couldn't get him? All these years.
I can see why, though. He's quite dashing.
If a little, oriental.
You don't really need to announce it to everyone within earshot, you know? Keep it down.
I'm so sorry, but it really is cute.
And a tad bit sad.
So, this is a nice party, Miss Wright.
Please, Anna's fine.
Wouldn't it be Mrs. Wright?
We're friends of a sort, aren't we? We must be friends, seeing as I know about your little infatuation, Becky. Don't you worry, dearie. You'll have your happy ending yet.
I'm not too concerned about that, am I? That's not what I'm looking for.
Oh? And what makes you think that? Doesn't everybody want their happy ending?
The idea of happy endings sounds like they're just for fairy tales.
Not to mention, a happy ending is something entirely different depending upon the context and the situation and one's goals and priorities.
And they are, sorta. I don't think you can just sit around, trapped in some tower and hope for the best.
Well, you can just sit around trapped in a tower and hope for the best, like maybe an Oxford comma.
If you love them, you have to fight for it, right? You're not just going to sit there and hope that everything will just fix itself on its own. Like everything, you have to work at it.
Well, you know what, Becky? That has been my tactic for the past, 10 years, and I have to concur. Nothing really has changed too much. It's been very consistent, at least. At least I have consistency.
But what do I know?
There is a grimace, although she starts to relax around my presence. How long has it been since we met as children? Certainly a long time. She was tiny back then, if I recall correctly.
I'm sure the daughter of the two greatest professors I've ever known is smart enough to know what she's talking about.
And she wasn't as, big of a girl.
But have you told him how you feel? And it's been what, 20 years?
17, actually. But no, not yet. He can be a bit dense.
And single track mind.
I was hoping that maybe he'd notice on his own and
approach you? No, this is not how it works. It's very complicated, but guys, at least in my area, are taught not to misinterpret someone's intentions, because then that's very horribly uncomfortable for them. Just assume they're all friendly.
Well, that won't do. What if you two become husband and wife? He's not to be dense when he's sworn himself to another person.
Wait, what? If they got to that point, then wouldn't he already know?
Why, you might just as well consider leaving before the day's even begun.
Or is she gonna secretly marry him, or I don't know.
if that happens, I'll have to give him a good ear bashing, won't I? Whoever anyone ends up with, it's not going to be a perfect relationship anyway.
It could be relatively perfect.
There's going to be things you'll love and things you'll hate about the other person. We're just humans.
Are we, Becky, not lizard people?
It's funny. Here I am, trying to give you advice when you did the very same thing back then.
Kick him in the knees and throw sand in his eyes?
I remember you giving me a makeover when we were still kids. And you were the first I told anyone about my crush.
Oh no, that's what boys on the playground do to the people that they are they fancy. They kick them in the shins, throw sand in their hair, and run away. I do remember now that she mentions it. Did I give her that yellow summer dress or the pink blouse and petticoat? She must have kept some of what I said in mind. It feels ridiculous remembering all that years later, talking about boys and how they go crazy for pretty girls like Isabella, as if it's some gospel every woman should adhere to. Gods, I want to know if Isabella is even still alive. I don't know, or she's gonna end up in the dungeon of the mansion. It was so easy to say such things then, with me not knowing any better. Though looking at her now, she must have kept some of what I said in mind. Perhaps I did something good at that time. Did say something good at the time. I didn't do anything good at the time, but I certainly may have said something good at the time, enough for her to take it to heart. But all that didn't matter in the moment as I mull over what she's just said in my head. She said something in your head? Telepathic Becky? What Becky told me is very different from what Marianne told me. There is no time to ponder over that, however, as a hush descends upon the once lively crowd. Thank you for stopping with that repetitive music. My goodness. The music of strings and chatter slows to a grinding halt as the doors from the foyer open. The last of the latecomers should have arrived moments ago, except for this particular latecomer. And anyone else this late would simply be too embarrassed to show their face. As everyone just stops and ow. Cat took exception to me petting them. So this can only be one person, or rather, one man. There's only one man who was audacious enough to arrive at his own party so late and already quite sauced.
Good evening, ladies and gents. Enjoying the party? I hope I'm not too late in welcoming you all to the right mansion.
Unlike who I was raised in the spotlight and simply grew used to its presence. Okay, I read that. That's why it sounded weird. Unlike I, who was raised in the spotlight and simply grew used to its presence, he sought it out every chance he could, even when there was no spotlight that shone. And I'll never put it against him when he smiles like that. He did so quite brilliantly under scrutiny when he channels his showmanship. his showmanship. You can tell by the way people's eyes light up as he speaks. How they listen, enraptured, even if all he's doing is a simple greeting. A little wave of his hand here, a little smile there, and a bit of swagger. I always tell him that if he is not to be a businessman, he'll do well as an entertainer. I love this side of him, especially when he looks at me and he beckons me over to humbly share his place. Not a single second is wasted as I excuse myself from Becky's side and I make my way to Luke's.
Welcome, one and all, to our humble abode.
Oh, so humble.
Tonight, if you have yet to find yourself in your roles, you are our ladies and lords of the court of your king and queen, if you would excuse my presumptuousness. So, enjoy the feast that has been laid out for your senses as we only allowed the best to be served.
Wait, what's the feast for the eyes?
Enjoy the rest of your night, everyone!
What is the feast for the hands? There is a round of applause, cheers, and even some hoots. Guests approach us left and right to shake Luke's hand and greet him personally, praises on their lips. It is because of this that I do not see her. I do not see her until she is dangerously close with fury in her eyes and she's already spitting venom. Who is that redhead? Johannes restrains her, taking care not to unnecessarily harm the pregnant woman. But that does little to deter her rage, and the man has no choice but to let her go lest an unborn child is hurt. Although it might be too late for that, as I see an emptied glass of wine in her hand. Oh my goodness. How much has she imbibed in?
Are you feeling ill, Rochelle?
Oh, this is Rochelle.
Perhaps you need to sit down and...
No! Shut it, you munter! I ain't talking to you! I'm talking to this scumbag over here!
Oh, what did he do? Did he raid your alcohol?
You bloody bastard, standing there with your smarmy smile!
She interrupts me, jabbing her finger in my direction before she rounds on Luke. Even as whispers and murmurs break out among the guests, all I can focus on is the heat of the moment. Obviously intoxicated, judging by the smell of alcohol in her breath. I'm not ticked off about this little display of hers, at least not yet. But I am absolutely pissed by the fact that she's endangered her own baby by drinking. There is a considerable amount of restraint and grace that I must exercise while I wait for her tantrum to subside. I keep a patient, if tight, smile on my face. Luke's expression, on the other hand, is indecipherable.
Watch your tongue! You're on thin ice, Rochelle!
Whoa, look at that face. That is the face of someone who is possessed by fury.
Where's your husband? Who even invited you?
I did.
And I told you with great emphasis not to. Now we have a drunk, hormonal, pregnant woman causing a stir. What is even going on?
I am just about to ask that exact same thing.
I don't know. But Rochelle, do calm down before you hurt yourself.
Or hurt your child, my goodness.
I can't understand a word you're saying.
Where is that husband of yours? Lee! Collect your wife right now!
Don't you fucking talk like I'm not here and you're not responsible, you ass! You told me that I should wait for you in the gardens!
Excuse me? What is this nonsense you're going on about?
In the gardens, you say?
Crazy talk! That's all it is! Just completely and utterly mad! Has anyone seen the Chief Inspector?
I am pregnant with your little bastard. You promised me you'll take responsibility.
Oh.
God damn it, Luke! I finally got you to talk to me after months of silence, and you do this to me!
If the kid comes out blonde, then we know. What? What?
What do you mean you're pregnant with? Luke, is this true?
Lies and slander, woman!
Wow, he is really furious.
Security! Johans, take her out of here before she makes an even bigger fool of herself!
It's just Johans who's security.
No, you do not do this to me! I was so ready to leave my stupid oaf of a husband. I told you to leave that damn wife of yours. Look at her. Does she look like she wants a baby? Does she look like she could take care of a baby?
I mean, Luke doesn't even look like he wants a baby. He's even said he doesn't want one. It is now that Johans returns with security along with a concerned-looking Officer Lee. They surround her and move to escort the hysterical woman. Judging by his pale face, he has heard the whole thing, and I feel nothing but pity for the man.
I'm so sorry for her behavior. She's been under a lot of stress. And the alcohol.
Oh my god, so much alcohol! And she's pregnant. This child is gonna be messed up. Good thing it's not mine.
Talking nonsense, that's all it is. You're not allowed to drink because of the baby, Shelley. What are you thinking?
Nothing to see here, people. Move along.
Is there really nothing here but the ramblings of a drunk? Yes, that's right. There's no way that what Rochelle says is the truth. What she says doesn't match up. I know Luke. Such a scandalous meeting is to be arranged. He won't do it in such an exposed place, especially not near his precious flowers. And he definitely won't promise responsibility over a child unless it can be helped. Besides, Luke will never... He'll never go so far as to sleep with another woman, right? ... Okay, fine, who am I kidding? If I am to be completely honest with myself, he might cheat. Probably, maybe. Depends on the situation. A bit of temptation and a bit of alcohol, he just might. And doesn't that just make my blood boil to even think of the slightest possibility of infidelity? Lee isn't too far off when he told me how Luke still acted like some young, hotshot bachelor. It starts to make me think. Okay, you know, I don't... Okay. This is not the time and place to do this in front of so many people. I mean, you gotta present a united front and then work out things in private, yeah? I mean, I don't, maybe realizing that couples therapy or just separation quietly would work out towards your happy ending instead of a dramatic break. Becky's words are still fresh in my mind. Ooh. Well, Luke liked that. Liked that. And I can't help but think that the girl, plucky woman that she is, has a point. If I love Luke, I'll have to fight for him, don't I? So far, I've been doing nothing and sitting on my behind, hoping it'll fix itself. This whole mess definitely isn't going to fix itself. How dare that woman try to drag our name and our relationship through the mud with her lies? At my own party! Determination fires me up as I take a step forward into the middle of the fray. All the while, she has been screaming. I signal for security to stop, and I can already feel the glower on my face as I stare into hers. She wilts as soon as she sees me. She starts to grow anxious. Her protests die down. I can see as her haughty, angry expression turns into a horrified realization. Rightfully so, she should be scared. What is that thing they say again? Never wake a sleeping dragon. I almost said pigeon. I often think that Luke is the one in charge, that he is the one to be feared and appeased. They think me as only the pretty wife. They forget that I am just as capable, just as worthy of respect.
I invite you, my friend, into my house on a day of merriment, and you insult my name and accuse my husband of infidelity. What have I ever done to make you treat us with such disrespect? You are no longer welcome in any of our estates, our properties, and our businesses. And we will no longer patronize yours. Now, escort the girl and make sure she isn't standing even an inch within our grounds.
She looks devastated. Reasonable. This does make her into a pariah, doesn't it? I should feel concerned, but I can't find even an inkling of mercy within me. I don't know what her plan was. I don't know what she wanted to make out of this. The money? Luke? It doesn't matter what she wanted.
You won't show your face to me ever again if you know what is good for you, Rochelle. Take her away.
Gods, take her away and throw her in the, the pit. The tension is thick in the air, and the silence that embraces the room is so set that one can practically hear a pin drop. There are worried and almost fearful glances from some of the guests, but they all know this is well within my right. She is the one who started this whole dilemma. It just so happens that I am the one ending it. As long as everyone hold their tongue and don't interfere, none of the consequences matter to me. Especially when my darling looks at me with a different shine in his eyes. It almost seems as if he's proud of what I have done, and that spurs me on more than anything. Nonetheless, I still act upset, because this does not change what just happened. He still has a lot to answer to. Because even if the woman is lying, there is always an inkling of truth in every lie. Like, maybe they were supposed to meet in the garden. Or maybe she is pregnant with half of his child. I don't know. So when I turn on him to say that the shock he displays brings me gratification is an understatement. Of course, there is no reason to make a husband and wife spat into a public spectacle. Some privacy will generate the least number of headaches and complications. Everyone is still far too busy in the ballroom, and most of the staff are still in the kitchen. A sharp glance at any who'll go through the doors is all it takes to make them retreat. Oh boy. Well, that was quite an interesting bit of drama. And the most private we can get without me dragging Luke all the way to our bedroom is the foyer.
And you. We are going to talk about this, Lucille Mitchell-Wright.
Who names their son Lucille?
Not now, but we will talk about this.
Right! I swear that is not my child, no matter what that woman says. Hannah, darling, you believe me, don't you?
Anna, darling. They had a slip of an accent, it sounded like.
I believe that it isn't your child.
Yet.
But you never said that you did not cheat on me with her.
Oh, there's the hint of truth.
We'll have a talk about that tomorrow, among other things.
Oh, good. Good job, Hannah.
What for? What other things?
About us, Luke. This isn't right, this doubting each other and not talking. That's why we'll talk. If anyone needs me, I'll be in our room. I'm in no mood to be talking with anyone about anything, especially nosy baggers who have no business with any of it.
Should I be worried? Scared?
Yes, Luke, you should be scared. I mean, Lucille.
Because you know threats do not work with me, Hannah.
Threats against your alcohol, maybe?
None of those. You should know I'm not your enemy, Luke. I just need...
Dude, she's too calm. Run.
I need rest. That's all.
Of course. Of course. You must be so tired. You've earned some peace. I'll take over the party from here.
Good night, love.
Good night, Buttercup.
Sometimes I forget that leaving Luke to handle a party is a horrible idea. What happened? October 29th, Saturday. Because come morning, the dining hall is a mess with a few of his drunk friends sleeping about. Well, that explains it. Okay, next time, maybe we'll actually finish the Hana chapter. I don't know. It's just really long chapters, and there's like Zachary, Rebecca, Ashton, and then Luke left. So four more chapters after this one.